Okay, so we're going to start with number 4. One of my biggest weaknesses sometimes is reading the problem. I rushed to do the problem and I didn't even read what the question was. So a good strategy for me is just using a highlighter. So think of my own way to use a ratio table to figure out how many tomato plants are in 16 boxes. And then the key thing here is that is what I need to know, but this 35 tomato plants in each one box is what I start with. So eventually I'm going to be setting up my own ratio table, so I have to know how to start. And then I don't ever have to use all of the columns, but I do want to show my work in the chart because it's easy for the reader to follow the work. It's easy for you to organize your work, and when you take a test, it's a great way for you to show what you're doing in an organized way. So my goal is to get from 1 to 16. So somewhere up here, I want to get a 16. So right now I'm just putting that like over there for a reminder for me. And so 1 to 16, I think in this case going to 10 and doubling would be great. Both of those steps. So like I could double and I could go to 10, and let me show you what I mean. If I multiply by 10 right away, that gets me right up to 10, and I don't have to do a lot of work. I could do mental math. So right now I know in 10 boxes there's 350 tomato plants. And then I want to go to 2 because I could go to 16, but it's just more work. So if I don't multiply off the side, I'm going to be quicker once I develop the skill. So doubling 35, 30 plus 30 is 60, and 5 plus 5 is 10. So this, add those together, is 70. So that's pretty easy.
But why would you get it 2?
Because then I could go to 6 by multiplying by 3. When I multiply by 3, I get 210.
And then you just add them.
And then I'm going to add columns. And I have become really efficient. Now, I add those 2 columns, and I get 350 plus 210. And if you feel like you need to do a little scratch work there, that's a great time to do a little scratch work just to be careful. And that gives me 560 plants. But I haven't done a big multiply problem, so I'm going to be really quick if I develop this technique. Now let's do the next one down here. Strawberry plants are shipped. So again, being careless, I need to read slowly. Strawberry plants are shipped in boxes of 70. So they have not written that information in the chart for me. So I have to do that now. So if Mr. Martin's class orders 980 strawberry plants, so the 980 goes down here eventually. How many boxes will arrive? So we have to get the bottom to 980 this time, not the top. And I do know from this that one box has 70 strawberry plants. That's correct. And I want to get the 70 to 980. So if I went by 10, I could do that. That would get me pretty high, right? So that's 700, and that gives me 10 boxes. Okay?
That's pretty close.
It's pretty close. What's another math fact with 7 that I can use? Chase?
Just one thing, that was the one question, but yeah.
Go ahead, ask the... Oh, that's the wrong question? That's not the one you wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's do it, and then we'll do the other 8. Ella?
You could do like 70 times 70, or 70 times 7.
If I did times 7, I'd be in the 400s. So that's a little high if I'm going to add something. So here's the thing. If I write it down, 7 times 7 is 40. So this would be 490. There's nothing wrong with that, but looking at adding these together would be too high. You don't need to erase. Just, you might not use that column, and that's okay too. So if I wanted to be closer to 980, Mia, what would you do?
I would multiply by 4.
Yeah, let's try that. So if I multiply by 4, that's 28. 7 times 4 is 28, and that's 280. So that gives me 4. And you might see now that 700 plus 280 is 980. So I added
14.
this column to this column. So the answer is 14 boxes.
I got it right.
So do you see, one thing that Ella brought up is I do what she does. She asks me to do all the time. Sometimes I'll put a number in that didn't help me. I don't worry about erasing it. That's why the columns, there's space for me. I might not use it after I write it down, and that's okay. How does that seem so far? Let's go to the other 8 that Chase was talking about, Mia, and then can I ask you all questions? Oh, where was the problem?
Oh, never mind. Just
Keep going. Okay, Mia, did you have a question about that last problem?
I know it's
The one before?
yeah.
Go ahead and ask.
So, could you have done like done 10 and then done 20, or just done 4? And then
Absolutely. And subtract it? There's, yes. Okay, let's look at this one. So 4 Florida oranges, so that's like my rate, sell for $2.50. That's why they have the 4 here. I can't draw arrows with the highlighter. And the 250 here. It's taking that information from the problem and sticking it in a chart. I have $10 to spend. So how many oranges can you buy? So a quick thing to do is just double. If I double 250, I get $5.
$5 and
8 oranges, and then if I double $5, I get $10.
and 12.
So I'm just doubling now. So it'd be
16.
16. So I didn't do any long work, I just did a little bit of doubling. I noticed that 250 plus 250 made $5. And then $5 plus $5 makes 10.
Well, actually, I did something.
So there's other ways to do it.
Well, I multiplied by 4.
That's okay.
Oh my god.
That's great. If you notice that 250 times 4 was 10 right away, then multiply by 4. But if you don't notice it right away, try doubling or multiplying by 10. Try some of these other mental math techniques. It is going.
Oh.
But we're only at 7 minutes and 51 seconds.
For what I just remember, one of the series is with the cases and the boxes. I just went up from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I don't understand how you do it like
I think I get your question.
not that way.
Right. Okay, so you might have noticed if you're watching the recording that I just switched worksheets. I'm just saying that out loud so it's not confusing. But we're going to address this question of being efficient is what I would say. I want to be efficient. And so we're looking at number 3 here. And Allie just bought some granola bars for her soccer club. And there's 8 granola bars in a box. And again, they've given that in the chart. How many boxes will she need to feed 130 players? So right away, I like to put the number, my goal number, off to the side, maybe like in light pencil, just so I know what I'm going for. And when I look at that, before I even start the problem, Ella, I just try to think of numbers to get there. Like if I think of 80, and 80, that's 160, right? So I also know I have to buy whole boxes. So I just need to get to the closest number to 130 that's bigger than 130. So if I just did 10, because 10 is a good starting point, that jumps me right away to 10 boxes and 80 granola bars. So if I double it, I have way too many granola bars. Do you see that? But if I did 5 boxes, that would be dividing in 2.
But why would you write 10 and 8 and then write 5 and...
Okay, why did I write 10 and 80?
Yeah, if you're not going to use it.
I am going to use it. So I'm actually imagining that I'm at the store, and I'm thinking to myself, if I buy 10 boxes, that's 80 granola bars. That's good. I need more, but I'm going to write the 80 down to keep track of my thoughts. Okay? And then I'm gonna buy 5 more, thinking, well, if I buy 5 more boxes, how many granola bars would I have in 5 boxes? If I have 80 granola bars in 10 boxes, how many granola bars would I have in 5 boxes? 40. And so now I'm feeling like that's pretty good. That means if I have 15 boxes, that would give me 120 granola bars. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So what I know is just by adding this column to this column, I could figure out in 15 boxes, I could add 80 to 40, and I'm really close to my goal of 130.
It's just 16.
Yeah, and I basically need 10 more, but the 1 box isn't enough, right? I need 2 more boxes. How are you guys doing back there that were absent? Do you s-
But I still don't get it now.
Okay, do you see what I'm doing here? So can you see I have 120 granola bars, but I need 130? Boxes come in 8s, so I really need 2 boxes, which would be 16 bars. That would give me 16 more bars. So I'm going to add, now I'm going to add this, whoops. I'm going to add the 15 boxes to the 2 boxes to give me 17 boxes, which is 136 bars. So that's more than I need. That means I get to give one to my little brother or sister or hide them in my backpack. So I need 17 boxes, and she'll have 6 extras.
So you're trying to get to the lowest?
Well, you have to have enough for everybody. You think about this like in your real life. Wouldn't it be a bummer if you were the kid left out?
Yeah.
So you have to have at least 130. But then from your parents' point of view, you don't want to spend a lot of extra money. Okay?